In 1985, Tom Cruise stepped into a dark fairy tale in Ridley Scott's Legend. As Jack, he battles goblins and the unforgettable Lord of Darkness to save Lily and the last of the unicorns. Though it struggled on release, Legend has since become a cult classic. This movie was right before Top Gun, which launched Cruise into stardom. We are in the 7th episode of this Tom Cruise series where we look at his career from start to present. And today we are looking at the 1985 movie Legend. Today I will only be showing 2 clips. I wanted to try something different to give you a better understanding of what I'm trying to do here with this series. I want to look at Tom Cruise's performance, and I think with only showing a couple clips of each film, I can better do that for you. I know that's a little bit different than what I normally do, but I figure I wanted to try something different with this series to really showcase Tom Cruise's performance, and what better way to do that than with this film that really showcases light versus dark. So I will only be showing one light scene and one dark scene. So let's get to the background. In a mystical world where light battles darkness for control, the last of the unicorns are the only way to keep the darkness at bay. When the Lord of Darkness schemes to plunge the world into eternal night, Jack, played by Tom Cruise, must protect the unicorns, save the princess, and banish darkness before all hope is lost. We have Tom Cruise, who plays Jack, we have Tim Curry playing the Lord of Darkness, and we have Mia Sara playing Princess Lily. So how did Tom Cruise get this part? Well, Ridley Scott needed someone young and charismatic. Tom Cruise had been in Risky Business and All the Right Moves before this, and even though he hadn't been in a fantasy movie, I think he really showed up for this part. Legend shows him in this unique transition period where he's promising newcomer to leading man. So let's look at the ratings and a little bit more about the movie itself. It was rated 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. It features Tom Cruise, Tim Curry, and Mia Sara. It was directed by Ridley Scott and it was released in 1985. It was filmed in several locations with custom sets, and it has a theme of good versus evil. So if that is your vibe, stick with me. Now, I want to remind you there are spoilers ahead, so with that being said, let's get to the first clip. So this is a bit early in the movie. We see Jack showing Princess Lily, his lover, the unicorns, and it proves to be a big mistake.
Nothing is more magical.
I agree with that. Nothing is more magical. I think they're very beautiful. I love all things mystical, mythical, whatever.
As long as they roam the earth, evil can never harm their pure of heart.
So obviously that's a little bit foreshadowing. As long as they rule the earth or roam the earth, then evil cannot take over. So that is a little bit foreshadowing. I like Tom Cruise in this scene. I think he has that innocence in him at this stage in his career, and he can really convey that in an innocent young man, and the purity that is needed for this film, and the good versus evil, you know, that's a big theme in this film. So I think that's perfect. I think he really conveys that in that little speech that he has talking about the unicorns, how innocent they are and how pure they are, and he just has this nice calming flow to him. I think he really brings to that little speech. So as I said in the beginning, I want to show a good versus evil, right? So I'm showing one clip where it's all good and pure, and then one clip where it's evil and very dark. So let's take a look at that next one. The darkness has one of the unicorn's horns chopped off, and Jack has to hatch a plan to save the other unicorn and get the horn back, save Princess Lily, who has been taken by the darkness. He wants to pretty much corrupt her and have her because she's so pure, and he has to save the world from this darkness. So let's take a look at a scene where Tom Cruise is in the middle of this darkness, Jack is in the middle of this darkness, and let's take a look at how Tom Cruise acts in this scene.
Lily, I'll do it. No.
So I forgot to mention his right hand Gump. He's an elf. They're in the process of looking at Mia almost chopping off the last unicorn horn, and he has a weapon pretty much loaded against Mia, and he just can't do it. He trusts Mia. He thinks that she's still pure. She hasn't been corrupted yet. Gump's not very much convinced because he doesn't know her as well as Jack does. So he's pretty much saying, no, I don't want to hurt her. She's not going to do this. She's not going to chop off the unicorn horn. I trust her. And Gump is like, I'll do it. I don't trust her, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we're seeing in this scene.
I trust you, Lily. I'll always trust you.
So we see that he still trusts her. In the middle of that darkness, he still trusts her. Their purity pretty much overrules this darkness and the corruption, which is a major theme of the movie. I think Tom Cruise does a really nice job of showing that worry for her character. So I think you can really see that in Jack, that he's worried about her, but he still trusts her to her full purity, full ability. So let's take a look at my ratings for this movie and my final thoughts. I want to do a segment at the end of each video, so I'm rating his performance, the film itself, and Cruisisms that I'm always looking out for. So his performance, I would rate 6 out of 10. I think he did a really good job conveying that good versus evil. Even in the evil situations, he's still good, he's still pure of heart, and he believes so strongly in the princess. He believes that she's still pure, and that really showcases in his emotions. You can really tell that. I think he did a fine job with this mystical world that Ridley Scott made. For the film itself, I would rate also 6 out of 10. I think really it's a cult classic for a reason. I personally, this time watching it, this was my first time watching it as an adult. I wasn't very entertained, I will say, at the beginning. I think it got better towards the end. I think this is definitely a movie that if I had saw it as a child, I would be watching it all the time, right? Like Austin Powers Goldmember, I watch all the time. Most people don't understand that because I just watched it as a kid over and over and over. So I definitely think that this is a type of movie that would be like that in that situation. Not comparing the two movies, Austin Powers and a Ridley Scott film. Not comparing those at all. However, I think if I had saw this movie as a child, I would have a higher rating of it, and I would love it a lot more because it's definitely that kind of vibe that I would have gravitated to as a child. So, honestly, I did like it. I think it was a little bit boring at first, and I think some of the aspects were a little bit weird, but I definitely would have loved it as a child a little bit more. Cruisisms I'm looking for. Did he run? Yes, he ran on several occasions. Did he do a stunt? I honestly think if it was actually Tom Cruise doing these things, yes, he did a stunt because he was jumping over swords and doing flips to get away from the enemy. So yes, he did do a stunt, he did run. If you think of any other Cruisisms, please let me know and comment below. I'm always looking for more. My final thoughts on this movie are, I wasn't super impressed. Like I said, I think obviously it's a cult classic for a reason. I think people gravitate towards this. I can see why. I did really enjoy the end part. I think it just was a little bit slow getting there. Kind of unnecessary scenes, but I think if I had watched it as a child, I definitely would be obsessed with this movie. So I think I just saw it at the wrong time in my life, if that makes sense. Tom Cruise, his performance was okay. I think Tim Curry was the star of this movie, as one would expect. Obviously, he's Tim Curry, he's amazing. So, I just think maybe Tom Cruise's heart wasn't fully in this one. I think you can kind of tell that in his performance. I think Tim Curry was definitely the star of this movie. What did you think of this movie? Have you seen it before? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Next, we are looking at Top Gun, the moment we've all been waiting for. So stay tuned.